Hello everybody. I wanted to bring you this from WikiLeaks because I think that pretty much what happens in Australia and the United Kingdom comes to the United States within a few months to a few years. Now I've read the article on this, and the title on this says that terrorism report lists Australian sovereign citizens as domestic terrorist threats. And basically the idea behind it is anti-government extremists who are known as sovereign citizens have been identified as potential terrorism threats in Australia by confidential NSW police report. Now, before I put this into perspective, I've read the article a little bit, and it says that it's a group of people. And I'm not certain if this is what they call their militia people over there, if this is like a Oath Keepers group over there, or what this group really is. But this is the basic storyline. NSW Counterterrorism Special Tactics Command Assessment obtained by 7.30 suggests there are as many 300 sovereign citizens in the state, and number growing. And police records show the number of Australian sovereign citizens in NSW doubled from 2009 to 2011, nearly tripled from 2011 to 2012. Now, I want to show you something right here because it tells you what are sovereign citizens. And this is when it goes from being a group of people, folks, that somebody made to everybody and anybody who doesn't obey the will of law. Amen. So let me show you this real quick right here. What are sovereign citizens? Sovereign citizens don't accept Australia's legal framework or government. They consider themselves outside the law. Counterterrorism Command warns they should be considered a potential terrorist threat. NSW police estimates there are about 300 sovereign citizens, and FBI considers them domestic terrorists. So, if Australia is doing this, folks, you know America is as well. We already know that militia groups probably already have commanders that have turned, along with many, many others as well. Along with other groups, that's why in the heat of the moments, if and when shit does hit the fan at some point, it is going to be necessary for a night of long knives to find out who is actually with you and who is absolutely not. And hopefully at that point you can just stay in your home and nothing bad ever happens. But I wanted to bring you this because this shows you how bad Australia is getting. And I do pronounce it Australia, just like they do. It isn't Australia, it's Australia. And basically, this is coming down the pipeline, folks. I mean, they list these guys as like Al-Qaeda and ISIS. Interactions with police have increased 50% since in 2011, a notable increase in threats of violence. United States FBI classifies sovereign citizens as extremists and domestic terrorists. And basically, U.S. Department of Homeland Security has listed them as a number of domestic terror threats in America. And it goes on. Australian sovereign citizens faced court more than 200 times. And it goes on and on and on. Deadly U.S. attacks linked to movement. And I think some of these are not necessarily the same thing. But this is coming from 7.30, an ABC affiliate in Australia. And I wanted to bring this to you, folks, because I felt very strongly about this, that Australia has actually come out on ABC and said that their sovereign citizens, ladies and gentlemen, are a terrorist threat. In other words, you and me and anybody we know would be that in the United States, would be that in Australia. And I always looked at Australia as a country who potentially would allow a lot more redneck level stuff to go on, and it's obvious to me that they are now following the international UN Kool-Aid agenda, so to speak. And I just find this very, very upsetting, very, very unnerving. And I have to basically ask, guys, why is this happening? I mean, we got to know why. It's a shame, folks. Thank you.